What's up, fam? Ike Speaks here, and I want to talk to you today about something that's been on my mind a lot. You keep seeing statistics about, I think the last statistic I saw is something like over 90% of prosecutors and judges or people in law enforcement were white. Okay, here is the problem, right? Because you say that stat and then you leave it there. But the problem is that in practice, it becomes a nightmare. Right? So this is how it looks when there is a cultural disconnect, because the people that are being prosecuted by the 97% or whatever the percentage is, they have no connection to the people that they are prosecuting. And when I say no connection, I mean they don't have any understanding of their daily life, of why they make certain choices, how they make certain choices. Let me give you an example. When I was a young prosecutor, I remember that there was a prosecutor who was adamant about a witness who had been lying. This witness was lying. And I was like, well, why? Why do you think the witness is lying? And the prosecutor said, because the witness said, that her mother had cooked food and left the food on the stove all day. That's a fucking lie. Nobody does that. And I'm saying to myself, this motherfucker don't know shit about the hood. A lot of people in the hood do that, right? I remember my grandmother used to make a big pot of something and leave it on the stove. You come in, you eat. I mean, there was so many people going in and out of the house. We weren't sitting down to dinner table. It was every man for himself. Food was here. The food sat on the goddamn stove all day. But because you have no connection to that reality, the person who you heard that story from must be lying, because that's outside of your realm. Hear how it plays out in other ways. Sometimes prosecutors have to read jail mail. Can you imagine a white prosecutor trying to understand some brothers from the hood trying to write each other when they know that you're intercepting? So they definitely are deliberately trying to make sure you don't understand what they're saying. Can you imagine? I had a prosecutor once come to me and want to prosecute someone because they thought that they were plotting a murder. I'm like, oh shit, what you got? So she shows me the letter that someone had written someone else in jail, and in the letter he's like, yo, don't worry about that hoe, just think about her giving you brains. And she was like, see right here, he's saying she was like, he's saying he's gonna kill her. I was like, yo, giving brains means oral sex. He's telling his friend, yo, just think about her giving you a blowjob. And she was like, oh. Right, but see, the problem is if there's no one to make those translations for you, then you might run off the handle and prosecute someone on some bullshit. Right? So I got a case right now. It's a robbery case. And I'm trying to make this prosecutor understand a couple things about the community I grew up in, the hood. Right? He seems to think that his case is so strong because the person who he arrested has the same jacket as the person in the video and has the same boots. So I'm like, okay, let's see the jacket, let's see the boots. Okay, it's a pair of Timbs. I'm like, dude, everybody in the hood got these boots. Everybody. Like, seriously, I'm not kidding you. Whether you, and this is outside of their reality, so they don't get that. They don't understand you can't make a case on a pair of boots. Just like you can't make a case in the summertime on a description of male black in a white t-shirt. Every dude in the hood has on a white tee and the blue jeans, okay? Whether they do that purposely or not, that is the reality of it. Right? So when you are these prosecutors, they base their cases on the dumbest things because they have no cultural awareness of the people they're prosecuting. They're so removed. This is not their reality, and you ain't got no black friends. Not the people you work with. Okay, let me be very clear about this. When I talk about friends, I'm talking about, like, if you couldn't reach a motherfucker, you call their mama friends. You know, those kind of friends. I'm talking about those friends, right? If you don't have friends of other races like that, then you're not exposed to the cultural differences. It's not enough that you might watch Blackish or whatever may have you to get a little understanding, but if you're in a position to prosecute people, you need to understand their cultural differences. so that you don't start to try to make a case where there is none. People's lives are in jeopardy here. You know, these people may not know what it's like to have to go visit a loved one in prison. And you don't know what that's like, then you don't understand the gravity of the position you have. You have all the decision-making power as a prosecutor, as a cop. It is incumbent upon you as a prosecutor or a cop to make sure that you are culturally aware of the people you deal with on a regular and consistent basis, and that you don't make illogical assumptions about them because they have an experience that's different from yours. It's out of control. So what do, right? So to wrap up this video, I think that a lot of the prosecutors, all of the prosecutors' offices need to inject in their cultural diversity training or programs, whatever they have, cultural awareness. They need to understand some of the cultural things that happen in our communities so that they don't jump to assumptions that there's some criminal activity afoot when it's not. So these are the things that drive me crazy, because it's difficult for me to make a prosecutor who has no reference to the hood understand hood shit. It's hard. And that's all they deal with. Think about it. That's all they deal with. It's hood shit for the most part, right? And they have no cultural reference for it. Anyway, so, you know, sometimes I just got to unload because I'm really frustrated about this, because it happens, and, you know, the polarity in this country is not just that we are divided. It's a fucking chasm. You hear me? It is a chasm. We are more than just divided and polarized. We don't know each other. We don't understand each other. And that leads to all manner of different kinds of problems. All right, so hopefully, you know, some prosecutor's offices will hear this and implement something, because y'all clueless. Y'all are clueless, and y'all locking up people, and y'all don't have the proper training or the proper tools or the proper knowledge and information to do it. You just don't. When y'all out here, you know, you're subjecting these kids to some serious state prison sentences on some old bullshit. Ike speaks, you know, I keep it real with you all day. I love you. I really do. Peace.